Hi, everybody, and welcome to the RHAP B&B for the premiere of Survivor 50. My name is Mike Bloom, back with another season of the B&B. For this milestone season, rumors of our demise were greatly exaggerated. We just didn't do a preview podcast, folks, because we wanted to save all of our talk for the main act proper, and it is here. 2 years ago, Jeff Probst announced that Survivor 50 would be a returning player season. And after that, it has been, almost 700 days of foreplay. And now we have finally engaged in the tantric act of love that is the Survivor 50 premiere, a 3-hour jam session. And I'm happy to jam with these two people to get all of their thoughts on everything that happened. And it was a lot. Of course, someone I would not be able to do this podcast alongside whatsoever. We go along as well as Coach in that chain that he randomly took with him from Exile Island. It's Boraas.
Yeah. Wait. Okay, I'm so glad you brought that up. We have to talk about that. Let's put a pin in that because I was like, where did he get that chain? What's that chain for? Like, what is that part of the supplies? Did I just forget this? In all 50 years of Survivor, I didn't realize that they got a heavy ass chain as part of the supplies. But look, I have been thinking about Survivor 50, as you said, Mike, for so long. And it felt like, oh, wait, guys, it's actually happening. Like, wait. Just because there was so much buildup, but over such a prolonged period of time, somehow it also snuck up on me at the same time, which was very bizarre. But I'm telling you, that moment, it was the Aussie coach interaction. That moment, I was so in on 50, so ready for everything that this season holds. And I really can't wait to talk about the premiere and just experience what the heck this season has for us.
Well, let's talk with somebody who experienced what the heck a season brought for them, considering that it was only, a year and a half ago that we saw her out there engaging in her own rather acrimonious fight for supplies. Aysha Welch, welcome back to the B&B.
Hello. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here as the only woman to have fought for supplies, which
That's
I didn't
wild.
even.
That's
I
nuts.
know. I was reflecting on that in Chat BCC this week. I was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute, because everyone's like, oh, I hate how this is like such a man-dominated challenge. Like it's so physical, and I was like, wait a second, maybe I had no business raising my hand. I just, yeah, but I can't wait to talk about it all. I was so excited, like you, Liana. Like this was because it was teased for so long. I mean, it had been announced right before we went out to play.
Yeah,
and so it was
nuts.
one of those things where I'm like, oh, everybody's going to be thinking about how to, escalate their gameplay so they can get on 50. And I was like, I'm not going to be thinking about 50. I'm thinking about 47. So it was actually surreal when all the preseason press just kept dropping and dropping. I'm like, wait, are we supposed to be seeing these things right now? Like, this is so weird. It's here. Oh my gosh.
So here we are standing on the shores alongside this massive chorus line of contestants, 24 of them that we are already down to by the end of this 3-hour episode. So again, it is a near impossible job to give your general thoughts on essentially the length of like the shortest Marvel movie ever in terms of airtime. But Liana, what are your takeaways now from the first episode of Survivor 50, especially compared to your expectations, either based on, the voluminous amounts of preseason content or otherwise?
Yeah, I think obviously expectations going into it, you can't help but be excited, right? You've got returning players, it's season 50, like come on, get hype, right? No matter what you feel, like there's going to be some excitement there. I'll tell you my opinions watching it were either it was binary. It was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen on television ever, or stop messing with the game. I just want to see them hang out. Like those were the two opinions I had. The Rizzo coach moment. oh my God, iconic. Maybe the best interaction I've ever seen, or coach, sorry, Colby, maybe the best interaction I've ever seen on television. So great. And then we jump to like some bullshit with Jeff being like, oh, in the hands of the fans, and the fans voted for you to have rice. Oh, but actually they want you to earn your rice. Okay, but we didn't vote for that. Like, I felt like I was being gaslit. It was like either the bullshit of New Era Survivor, but the glorious joy of watching icons play the game and interact in the most fun fan fiction I've ever seen. Like, overall, so enjoyable, but definitely had those moments of like, shut up, Jeff.
What about you, Aysha?
Yeah, it was, everyone was so critical of this cast the moment it was announced. And I think that would have happened no matter who they picked. I think they could have picked the, like, if, they could have taken an audience poll and chosen the top 24, and people still would have complained, right?
Yes, I can acknowledge firsthand as someone who ran an audience poll in which they voted on a cast. That is often the result.
Yeah, exactly. So you're never going to please everybody. Mm-hmm. So they definitely got a lot of people that so many of these people, I want to say a majority, if not all, I'm excited to just see interact with other people. Like, even people that it's just like, oh, like, okay, their game the first time may have not been as exciting, but boy, am I excited to see them next to the person that they are next to on this tribe. Like, it was just, it almost like, even seeing like D talk to Tiffany and Camilla, and I was like, you what? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it really was, the whole 3 hours was something to wrap your mind around. Seeing like Genevieve cry about Kyle, leaving. I'm just like, boy, how has evolved already, right? Just from like 47 to 50. And so it's just like, I loved seeing this mix of people. And I do truly think, and I know they spent so much time putting together this cast, I think even if they had done a season where they're like, we're going to bring the least memorable people from so many, like, everyone is going to be the least memorable person from their specific season, I think Survivor fans would still enjoy watching this a combination of people, because okay, it's a new situation, they're putting to a new environment, and it's like, hey, I'm familiar with this person. I think I saw, I don't know if it was a tweet or something, someone was like, boy, am I glad that I already know everybody's names. Like, there's something about familiarity, and like, when you're already introduced to someone, you put them in a different environment. I think that's why like the traders thrive so much. It's just like, I have that foundation with this person, no matter how small, that it's like, yeah, I'm excited to see them again.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that's actually such a great point. And I think that the lack of return, I'm not saying that I think they should have done more returning player seasons in the 50s or in the 40s, I guess, from 41 into 49. But there is some sense of like home, like comfort in having returning players. And I know obviously you've got people like Colby, like Jenna, like Ozzy, like Suri, people we've seen so many times play this game. But even the new era people, you're like, okay, like, I know what we're doing here. And maybe that's part of the reason why Mike and I also didn't do a preseason podcast. It was like, we know them already. Like, we'll just see what happens. Like, let's just throw them all in there together. So I think that there's a sense of comfort to that. And I really like that point, Aysha.
Yeah, I mean, this premiere was essentially opening up the Survivor toy box, where maybe there's some of these action figures that your parents had that they passed down to you, but they still are surprisingly in good condition up against, the things that you got last Christmas. And like, now you're actually having them interact with each other. And there is a weird surreality to it. We talked all the time, myself included, about like, oh, well, Rizzo is the same age as Colby was when we started Australia, not realizing how essentially Colby would go full RuPaul and be like, I'm your daddy now. Come on, Rizzo. I'm a little older than 47, but I can still, hang with the best of them. So even just like that interaction. And then on top of that, like looking at the dichotomy of Ozzy squashing one beef with Suri and creating even more beef with the other one in Coach. Like, I think it really paid off incredibly well to see old dynamics and characters resurrected paired with new dynamics, even like a Rick Devens Christian combo. Again, both of them have played a little while back, but like they never interacted with each other because they haven't returned yet. I mean, I have seen this episode a fair number of times. I lived through this episode, and there's still little moments on the umpteen time I watch that I am obsessed with. Like, for example, when it's the beginning of the marooning challenge and Savannah is digging under the log, Rick Devens says something like, "News update, you're killing it." And it's like, is that his low-key way of being like, I know who you are, you're a news anchor from Georgia? Like, they're all, or even like, I think I was so worried about the ominous shot of Jeff on the boat that I didn't even clock the entire conversation Q and Angelina were having about blackjack. Where Angelina's like, oh, it's a team sport. And Q's like, the only team is me against the casino. I'm not playing with you. If you can't play if you don't play blackjack that way, you gotta go.
But he made such a valid point, I will have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I also love that as well, about him being like technically speaking, I mean, again, it was very surprisingly math oriented for someone like Q, who I think is a very gut oriented person, of like, there's only one card in the deck on a 16 that you hit 21 with.
Yes.
So again, it's just all these little micro and macro interactions that just kept my heart so warm. I know there was a lot of talk about, okay, this is a celebration of 50 seasons, but I had no idea how much the editing would be a celebration. I don't know if the flashbacks are going to continue past this first episode, but like getting freaking shots of BB Anderson getting voted out. Homage and Morway is the one, because he was the one that also made Fire with Glasses back on Jenna's original tribe. I mean, even just that 5-minute opening sequence, like, it's just such an incredible reminder of what this show is able to give to us. And I would wager that the first 2.5 hours of the Survivor 50 premiere is maybe one of the best episodes I've experienced in quite some time. Like, I feel like it delivered on every front I expected and exceeded those expectations. That last half hour might miss me a little bit. I know that obviously with the 3-hour episode, you're sort of checking your watch, being like, all right, where are we going from here? And so it's not even the womp womp of the Kyle medevac. It was then doing the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol and the Journey, to your point, Liana, was maybe a little bit of the bucket of cold water that was like, oh yeah, they want to throw in as much stuff as possible. It's dynamic advantages. Make of that what you will.
I have a confession to make. Puya was shocked when I said this. I didn't realize that the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol was actually real. I thought it was just a thing Rick Devens came up with, or whomever said in the promo. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. That's so creative. And then it was actually the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol. And I was like, wait a second. I didn't think it was an actual thing. So that was a big gag for me. Apparently I'm the only person on the planet that missed that it was like
no. To be fair, I had a good amount of people actually messaging me after that initial teaser being like, Rick Devens could have made this up. But it's like, why would CBS actively publicize Billie Eilish's involvement when she actually is not involved at all?
I don't know. Maybe they wanted her attention or something like that, right? They were like the whole Taylor Swift thing with Charlie. It's like, let him mention Taylor Swift. Maybe she'll watch the episode and like talk about it. It's like, Billie Eilish. Maybe she'll watch the episode, become a big Rick Devens fan, and then go from there. I don't know, man.
Oh my God.
I will say, I am so, obviously with the promo for 50 and seeing Billie Eilish and every other name they named, Mr. Beast. I will say, now that has been introduced, we have seen the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol. I am glad that it wasn't like, Genevieve finds it and then here comes Billie Eilish on the screen.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Billie Eilish. Like it dropped her name and we kept it pushing. Like, it wasn't a huge
What did you think about the personalized letter, Asia?
Yes, very personalized.
Hey, it's Billie Eilish.
Hey, it's me.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Go ahead, Billie Eilish here.
Because that's the thing. It wasn't just a note. It was like a personalized letter as well.
Yes. I'm sure she personally wrote that and then mailed it to Fiji so that they could use it. But I will say that's the part of it that I was the most pleased about, that they didn't like milk Billie Eilish as a person being a fan of the show on the show to take away from the moment. It was like, okay, this is about the advantage and let's talk about the mechanics of that.
Yes. Though I do think there's a chance, based on the fact that Rick Devens said Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol, there was a little bit of like, because I was actually at Scat TV Fest when Jeff said that it would be found in the premiere episode, and so everyone assumed it was going to be Rick. So the fact that it hasn't makes me think there's a chance there's a Billie Eilish boomerang idol at every camp. So we still might have that moment, Asia. Maybe they're waiting for all three for Billie Eilish to then appear and be like, "This is me now.
That's what it takes to unlock Billie Eilish.
Yeah, she's like Beetlejuice. You have to say her name 3 times.
Oh my god!
Don't get me wrong, I love Billie Eilish's music, but I just never thought Survivor and Billie Eilish would go hand in hand.
No, but I think so that part for me personally, I was like, okay, fine. But I do, I mean, we'll see if we can unlock her at a later stage. But for me to go back to something Mike had mentioned earlier, which was a lot of the small moments. Like literally in my notes, I created a small quotes / moments section of all of the things that I thought were just really made me laugh. So for example, Christian in that same challenge with the digging, he goes, "You're a regular excavator."
Yep.
Okay. Rizzo at the marooning chanting, "Go Kyle, go Colby, go Kyle, go Colby." I don't know why. Really,
I can understand why Colby's like, "This guy annoys the shit out of me. Stop chanting my name. 100%. I'm gonna get locked in, brother."
Mike White saying, "Don't get on daddy's nerves." Amazing. Iconic. Charlie about him being like, "I guess he has abs now." Christian saying he's been hitting the White Lotus gym. Like there were just so many of these little teeny tiny moments that I don't know. It was just so warms my heart and beautiful and iconic. People in their own right, as well as them interacting. Like I think that was where the majority of my joy came from in watching this episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's the benefit of it being a returning player season is that you would hope the vast majority of the people who are getting brought back are those who know how to create good sound bites and good entertainment. And again, I think even on paper, those that you feel like we're doing it for the umpteenth time, no, they were almost bringing it more. We were all introduced to Oscar over the course of this episode.
Yes,
it's something that people were saying may have been one of Ozzy's best episodes across his entire Survivor career.
I'm so here for Oscar. I feel like we need to call him Oscar now, like throughout the rest of the season. Like he is Oscar now.
Yeah. I will say before we move on too far from the opening sequence, I did wait to watch it until the actual premiere because it was being promoted so much. I was like, I want the pure feeling I feel when I'm starting the finale or premiere. And I did get chills. But the only critique, is for one, we only got Genevieve for like 0.5 seconds. But two, when they were showing the New Era winners, they just skipped Rachel Lamont. I was like, oh my gosh. So that made me angry in the moment. But
maybe the 47 erasure.
Right. That aside, I did enjoy the 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a fantastic, like, sizzle reel for the show. Though, again, with the stuff I got to experience out there that tragically did not make the cut, I'm like, this is beautiful. Do we need to, like, have this much time dedicated to this and, like, cut out the Angelina Tarp negotiation that happened after the challenge? But listen, it was a tough thing to do for essentially what was, like, kind of an episode and a half, basically, with including that Kyle medevac. But Liana, what do you want to talk about here? Like, what is like the main, do you want to talk about the vote? Are there other of these quote unquote small moments that you would prefer to sort of fixate on in a more mass quantity?
I think we should talk. Let's go through each of the tribes as they stand. So we can start, I would say, let's kick things off probably with, is it Sila? Sila. Okay, great.
Is Cilia like the name for those little like
it's
bulby things?
So, there are these little protrusion-y things from cells that they have a lot of different functions. But anyway, that's what when I see that's what I read. Anyway, so I think we need to start with them. I think we had a lot of really interesting tribe dynamics in terms of, obviously Jenna coming out the gate, playing super hard, maybe it being her, maybe it being Christian who threw Sarie's name out first, a little bit unclear. But to me, I see like some clear pairs and groups forming, right? You've got the Aussie Sarie duo as a little group. And then you kind of have like the three nerds, right? You got the Devins, Christian, I'm sorry, that's what I'm going to call them. And Emily of it all. Like those two kind of seem, or those two like groupings of people seem to be some sort of like core nucleating factors. Joe, I'm like, where is Joe? Like, where is Joe falling? Obviously, Christian was like, I want a consensus. I just want a consensus. I
Do you,
just want a
do you
consensus.
think Joe could have blended in with the three nerds though? Because he's like, I got wedgied on public television. Now I know what you feel like.
I got shoved in a locker on public television. Yeah. So they're really fascinating to me because I do think there's a universe they end up going back to tribal council. I don't know how quickly that would be, but I can see they've really been a focus of this episode. I think specifically because of the Jenna boot, but also I think we are going to see them more on our television screens in the next few episodes.
Yeah, it feels like Joe is just represents the provider of this tribe. And yeah, the new era, like people don't focus on that as much. There's not as much an emphasis on we need someone who can care for us. But it's like you have to keep a Joe when there's a Jonathan on another tribe and a Colby on another tribe who also has Q. So it's like I think Joe almost doesn't need anyone right now because it's like, in what world is he an option outside of the recency bias of just being on 48, right? And then just seeing that. But I think as long, like, yes, you do have an Ozzy, but they are also just thinking, okay, let's not lose again.
Well, and also they were nearly going to get rid of Ozzy too.
Right, exactly.
Considering that, I don't know, there's also a secret scene out there that came out after the premiere where it's Sila the next day and Emily's like, oh man, I really wish I got rid of Ozzy. So like, it wasn't even just something that they kind of like used as filler material to be like, oh, maybe it's not Suri or Jenna. Like, it did seem like had they had more time, had the numbers come together, Jenna was certainly on board to get out Ozzy. Like, as much as we love Oscar, he could have been the first boot. Oscar could have picked up the Razzie here in terms of worst performance in Survivor history.
I mean, you have Oscar, you had Jenna, you had Suri as options to go home, right? Like,
that's tough.
What did Savannah do in these first 3 days to establish herself as like a non-threat or as a great ally?
I forgot she was on that tribe. Totally forgot about her, which is like nuts. Oh my god! But Aysha, that's such a good point. Her reveal also being like, "Do you guys want to guess what I did? Do you guys want to guess how good I did?"
This tribe it's so interesting because this tribe is like some of the biggest talkers that we've experienced in recent memory of Survivor. This is one of the most awkward silence-coded tribes ever. Between that moment, like tribal council when like Jenna gets up to go and they're all just like, yeah, well, I guess we'll stand.
Are we all standing? That was so awkward. But it wasn't like a standing ovation of thank you, Jenna, for being the first boot. It was just, yeah, we're all just gonna stand here. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Ozzy does go to hug her, and she denies it. But I heard him a little bit go like, Jenna. Like just like, sorry. Like again, it's that thing where you're like, I should say something, but if I say it too loud, it's gonna draw attention to the fact that you snubbed me.
Yes.
So yeah. So were you surprised at all, either one of you, to see Jenna go over Suri, especially considering the monkey's fist of it all?
Didn't realize that was what that was called, so we learned a new name for a ball of yarn. But
what was the old name?
Really?
What? Like what were you referring to it as previously?
Nothing. The ball with the string. I don't know. I didn't have a name.
Throwing it into the Y-shaped thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they throw the thing into the thing. It's like a Survivor challenge. It's fine. I mean, no. So frankly, I wasn't surprised simply based on the fact that so early on in the episode, when Jenna is bringing up the idea of targeting Suri, we had so many people clearly not going for it, right? Devins immediately goes and rats it out to Suri. Devins is tight with Christian and Emily, so I kind of figured that there wasn't going to be that momentum there. So I wasn't all that surprised, but there was a little bit of heart palpitation as we got a little bit closer because Suri at Tribal looked nervous. And I have not seen her really ever look that nervous. So I did think that I was getting fooled and maybe I was going to lose baby girl Suri. Oh, that would have been so tough.
And I wonder, I think Jenna knew targeting Suri is a big swing. And I really wonder if there was any moment that Jenna was like, okay, well, maybe I don't try to target Suri. Maybe I try to target someone else, which is really, really makes me think of the Savannah of it all. Because in what world is the most recent known winner just won 2 weeks ago? coming, and their tribe is going to tribal council, and like she wasn't being considered, right? So I think it's very interesting that that was a thing, that it wasn't even based on that. And so maybe they were truly thinking like, okay, maybe let's not lose again. Or, the reason voting Jenna out was like saying that she was quote unquote overplaying. But I do think it has a lot to do with the relationships in and out of the game that Cirie has already established. Like everyone's coming into this with like at least somewhat of an adoration for Cirie, or a certain level of respect. Like this is what, her 5th time playing US Survivor. So I think they're, especially with, I don't know. Yeah. Because do we know the real reason that they decided like, let's not split up Cirie and Ozzy?
I mean, I think that Christian expressed it well in the episode where he felt like Cirie was someone who was a little more like open and honest, at least in this moment. And that's the type of person that I know he preferred to work with. Obviously, when I talked with him, he wanted to like approach Cirie day one on the beach and is like, I want to take you to the final 3 because I know how much it would mean to you to actually win. So like, I was not surprised that he in particular was pushing more so for a Jenna. I mean, I think it comes down to the fact that like, Jenna is such an unknown factor here, which is weird because we saw her play back at the turn of the millennium, but she had the biggest, skewed friend perspective across the entire cast when I was doing that friend or foe. And I think it's because people were talking about this sort of facsimile of what they think Jenna Lewis is, right? Of like, season 1, she's gonna be old school. She's gonna want to sit around and fish and talk about her kids. And so I could just use her as a loyal number no matter what. And then when she turned out not to be that, I think that discrepancy can probably do something to your psychology of like, oh, you are not what I thought you were. And that is scary. And so I think that actually the ironic part is that fear of the unknown outweighed the other fear of the unknown, which is the person who you never saw play before, who comes in and says, I won my season.
God, how is that not so much scarier though? Right? Like, I don't know. And that's the thing. Like, okay, so you've got Kyle, right? And Kyle was in obviously a very good position on his tribe, at least from what we saw before he got medevac. But like, at least with Kyle or Joe or Camille, the people that just played and just did a great job making it far into the game, at least you know what you're getting. Whereas with Savannah, you genuinely have no game footage, nothing. You have nothing on her. So I guess, just the absence of information is less threatening than conflicting opinions on somebody, or guess having the rug pulled out underneath you from like, oh my god, I thought you were going to behave this way and you didn't. Maybe that is like more immediate threat than just blankness.
I mean, I think if you're looking at these two who definitely seem to be, at least from what Jenna expressed to me, a bit on the outs, right, that it did seem like Cirie and Ozzy and the 3 nerds, as Liana put it, then it's like, okay, well, Jenna is the one who is much more explicitly, apparently, being upfront about like getting the game moving. That is more threatening to somebody than, yes, Savannah won. And maybe you could work yourself into a mindset where you're like, oh, then that means that she's actually a better player than Jenna, so we should take her out. But I think it could be such low-hanging fruit, especially when you're trying to build a consensus like Christian, to use the rationale of Jenna's gaming too hard, too fast. If we keep her in, we're all going to be playing Jenna's game.
Yeah. And maybe it even could have been that, like, I don't want to discredit Savannah's game. Like, maybe she was able to get in and good enough socially to the point where they didn't see that as an immediate threat. And maybe she also sold it as, hey, I won, but the check hasn't even hit, my bank account yet. Like, I'm still tired. I was just out here. I'm still getting the sand out of my toenails. So...
or maybe it's a reflection on how people aren't threatened by New Era winners. Like, maybe is that it? They're like, she won, but it was 26 days.
26 days. Like, she barely played at this point. Now, Jenna's played like 72 days of Survivor.
Exactly.
Well, let's go from sandy toes to toe rings. Let's talk about Kahlo here, because I think we want to finish on Vatu, because in my opinion, that probably is like the most interesting tribe and obviously ends the episode. So this is probably the tribe that maybe is on the polar opposite. And there's still some fun personalities. And we definitely see a lot of dynamics being set up here. Essentially, it's like Coach Chrissy and Jonathan on the anti-D brigade. Then you have this sort of like new era Powerpuff Girls of D, Tiff, and Camilla. Charlie, surprise, surprise, is now in the middle, which I think is something we're going to get soon. But Liana, what did you make of going green with this tribe?
Yeah, I mean, there were certainly some strategy moments, as you mentioned, where we started to see some groups forming, but it definitely, this tribe felt, I'm not going to say like an afterthought, but just because we spent so much time and energy with the other two, it was a little bit like, okay, we're kind of touching on the elements, but it's more from a, I don't know. It felt almost like more from a comedic relief perspective. Like maybe it's just because they have Coach and Mike White. So of course you're going to get some like fun, kooky moments with them. But it was like the whole segment about Jonathan being a giant, ho ha, fee fo, fum, or whatever that Jonathan was doing. He did the, yes.
He did. I just love the way you sort of like nonchalantly say, FIFO fum.
Fee fi fo fum, whatever, like a giant does. So is that we get the Mike White has a 6-pack now. We get the Coach honorable story moment, right? Him with the chain. Where did he get the chain? No idea. So there were just a lot of moments like that. Even Chrissy targeting D and like bringing up that whole concept, but Chrissy's like cackling the entire time. I don't know why. Every shot of Chrissy is her just maniacally laughing for
or
some
brushing
reason.
her teeth.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It was just tough to take them seriously. So like even though they're having serious strategy talk, I'm like, it's just callow.
Speaking of that teeth brushing, that was the biggest. Like I was like, oh my, like maybe there's something
like
to
a
it.
scallion? Like that was a massive thing.
Where did you get that?
Exactly. I feel like that's getting your teeth and your gums at the same time.
Who needs a water pick when you've got this giant plant on the island?
Exactly. But one thing I was wondering with this tribe that we really didn't get to see a reaction to was what happened when Mike White came back to camp with nothing. Like, oh yeah, we went and they decided 2 people and then I just got to come home. I would have questioned that because when has that happened before?
Yeah, I do wonder, like, did they drive Mike around the island a few times to, like, pad out that it seemed like it was a safe amount of time? Because I guess you would try to time it out, right? Like, if he was only gone half an hour, then, okay, yeah, I'm more liable to believe you. Otherwise, it'd be a lightning-fast journey.
Right. And, I mean, you can't tell time out there. It's impossible. It's like he could have been gone for 15 minutes and they could have thought it was an hour. So... I don't know. I really wanted to see that reaction, but it did pay off with, the Coach moment of finding out Ozzy's perception of the fight for supplies.
Can someone who's more talented than me edit Coach in that scene and play the sound of silence over it as he just has this 1,000-yard stare off into the distance? I will say, Liana, as you mentioned before, I wouldn't say this is like fully the vibe tribe. It reminds me a little bit of, again, Charlie's original tribe on 46, to the point where this is a very big dancey tribe. Like when Coach came back and they were all chanting, Coach is like, ooh, or I don't know if you noticed this. Again, it's all about the small moments. Did you see when Mike White volunteers for the journey, what he does before he gets on the boat?
No.
He's standing on the beach and he's saying goodbye to them by, let me see if I can like mime it out here.
Okay. All right.
So Mike is standing up.
Oh, I was going to try to describe that for the audio listeners. I don't know what that was.
I don't either. He was like sawing the air, saying goodbye while also dancing backwards and high stepping. It's so weird.
Amazing. See, amazing. That's so good. But yeah, exactly. So okay, yeah, maybe not vibes tribe, but certainly like goofy tribe, goofy fun moment tribe, I guess maybe. The moment though to have Mike White go all the way on the boat there and then just be like, psych.
I thought it was gonna be like, Savannah wins between her and Colby, and then the envelope says like, now you have the option to go compete against Mike White, and I thought like, oh, they took him to somewhere else, and like, and I was like, no, okay, well,
same,
because he just went home,
or for him to get something right of like, oh, by sitting out, actually, he get
that. That's the thing is I feel like at that point, like they're up to this point with Ozzy as well. Like there are all these little surprises. Like these boatmen are really earning their time and a half by
Yeah.
also schlepping all these objects and notes and everything. So I thought there would have been a twist of like, okay, Mike, you basically sat out of the journey challenge, and so here's something that you have an opportunity to do by yourself. Like here's a secret mission for you to get an advantage because they're so dynamic. But it was so lame.
It
And
was.
we have seen this a couple times if I remember from the new era. Like this makes no sense. Why are you bringing
At
3
all.
people there? I mean, I guess the thing that they got the benefit of was this coach story beat. Like Mike essentially
Yeah.
was the conduit here, was the
Right.
messenger. And Savannah has said that like they had a much larger conversation where they were doing a lot of debriefing about their respective tribes. But outside of that, I mean, I know Mike White loves to, kiki with people, but like he wanted to play. That's why he volunteered for the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Weird.
that seemed very just like anticlimactic to just be like, oh my gosh, I'm about to go get something, I'm gonna risk something, and then oh no, you didn't draw the right thing, so you're actually gonna go back home. But I will say, speaking of the boatman, I do always love seeing the guy who drove my boat when I came back from like the fight for supplies. I'm like, that's my guy.
I know that guy.
Can I ask Aysha, like, can you talk with him at all, or are you on ice that entire time until you get back to the beach?
We chatted.
Like, I don't know if I was supposed to. But we did.
Right. There's like, because honestly, there's no like, I'm not, around anybody. There's no there's no camera on the boat with me. So I don't think there's any danger unless I was sitting up there asking him like, oh, tell me more. What do you know is to come? But I was just like, oh, how do you like being in Fiji? It was really like small talk. Yeah.
Chat. Not be
Yeah.
like, hey, can you sneak me a protein bar?
Right.
Bribe him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about Vatu here. Let's finish things off because maybe we're not talking blackjack, but what a group of cards we have in our hand with these people. I know there was a lot of talk about just like the eclectic group of personalities, but I think it was even superseded when you watch them do a fashion show together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was out of the blue. Again, like this is what I'm talking about when I'm like, I just want to watch these people interact, right? And the blackjack moment came honestly because Kyle was getting pulled. Like that was like the conversation was before Jeff shows up to go get, and I'm like it's unfortunate that would that moment have been included if Kyle hadn't been medevac? My thought is probably not. So like that's a little bit unfortunate that we got like such a fun moment as a consequence of Kyle being medevaced, but it's like that's exactly what I'm looking for. Like for example, the Aubrey Genevieve interaction. What the heck? Like what was that? So fascinating. From Genevieve being like, yeah, but I would want to work with other threats. We could kill it together. And Aubrey being like, I don't trust you. Girl, she's extending the olive branch.
Like literally, so should I try? Like, I don't, I feel like this is weird. That's because you're making this weird. Like you brought this energy. Like Genevieve seemed, I mean, obviously very biased here, but Genevieve seemed very open to at least having a conversation. Aubrey's like, I don't know about you.
Well, it's that preconceived notion. Aubrey told me that Genevieve gave her Gone Girl vibes. And so I don't think she wanted to become her next victim. She's like, I know your murderous ways. I'm staying far away from you. I'm reporting any suspicious activity immediately if I see it.
But it's so interesting because it's like, okay, they didn't show Aubrey getting tight buddy with a bunch of other people on this tribe. So I'm like wondering what is her game plan at this point if she's like giving this hard no to Genevieve, like has she started to form bonds with other people? Because that was just weird to like this early in the game to just not be open to conversation.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What do you think she's doing at this moment?
Or maybe she's being too open to conversation. Maybe this is something where Aubrey's like, I know I am perceived as like this big strategic player. So let me try to be honest to not feel like I am duping anybody. But honesty can really cut both ways here. And Aubrey seems like she almost like severed a limb in this conversation with Genevieve.
Like
Yeah.
you single-handedly made this interaction weird.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And then that was like all we saw of her the entire episode. It's like, okay, what a weird
That
little
or the
plot
horrible
point.
moment where she was having PTSD standing on that beach being like, why must all these men in my life get medevac from Survivor?
Yeah. Oh, poor thing. Yeah, it's I mean, just to briefly talk about the medevac, like obviously you never want to see anybody get pulled. I think also Kyle was someone, and in my preseason prediction, I talked about this, but like Kyle was someone who I thought was going to be a target because he was the last winner that people
Mhm.
saw. But he was in such a good spot. You had Colby wanting to work with him, Steph, Genevieve, that sort of little core four, bring Q in there as well. Like that's a really solid group of players. And it looked like he was positioned really well. So, it's unfortunate from multiple perspectives to one, just have him pulled in general, but also to see somebody subvert at least my preseason expectations for him. And I wanted to know where that line and that story was going to go.
Unfortunately, it was
Same.
gonna go to the emergency room.
Apparently, yeah.
I
Surgery.
know. I didn't expect. I was so pleasantly surprised how good of a position Kyle was able to put himself in, and I
Mhm.
think you can credit that to two things. One being that 48. I mean, it was a year prior to filming 50, and was used to the fast gameplay. Like
Hmm.
you're not going to if they had done 50 all OGs, it wouldn't have escalated the way it did with establishing we got our 2 here, 3 here, 4
Mm.
4 here. I think that the speed of the 26-day game, it really catches up to you, especially if you're not going to tribal. And so the fact that Kyle was being more proactive and like making connections, I think like Colby respected that. Q
Mhm.
respected that. Genevieve respected that. And so I was so impressed with how quickly he was able to just kind of like, I'm not going to sit back. Like, I'm not going to just be like, oh, because I won, I'm just going to let people come to me, or I'm not
Mhm.
going to, I want to like downplay my threat level. Is like, no, I want to get my people together that I trust so that we can have that foundation and move from there. And I think the second thing you can credit that to is just who Kyle is as a person. Like
Yeah.
one of the most
Yeah.
genuine people I have ever met. He is so sweet, so kind. When he's talking to you, there's no one else in the room. Like
Mhm.
you truly feel like, wow, he is really into this conversation.
Yeah.
Like I need to be more tapped in.
That's
Like
so
I
funny.
need more eye contact. It's
Well,
like,
and I want to add a third thing, his smile. Like I'm telling
Yeah,
yes.
you
that
that,
smile.
like
Million dollar smile.
when someone smiles at you like that, you're just like, yes, I will be in an alliance with you. Thank you.
It was such a weird journey for me because obviously I was there when I saw the injury. Now by the
Mhm.
time I had left, I didn't know about the Achilles. We actually left on day 4. I didn't have the highest prospects, even if I thought it was the ankle. It was, so extreme to the point that Q carried him out of the challenge on his back. Like that's how immobile Kyle was. So I was like, okay, even if he's not, I mean, he brings up James Clement in a lot of our exit press, and like I thought it might be a similar situation to that, where like as beloved as he could be, this could just be an untenable situation. And
Mhm.
and then my mind went to, okay, if for some reason you had to pick out of the Survivor 50 cast, like who gets medevac from this? I guess the guy that just won, like, it would be worse if it was someone that we've been waiting a long time to see on our screens again.
Mhm.
But then watching the episode back, now my heart is sinking because
I
it's like
know.
he was in such a good spot,
Such
even
a good
more so after
position.
talking about all the dynamics that were happening and the fact that he was in multiple foursomes and what had a number one in Angelina in addition to Genevieve. So, like, that makes it all the more tragic is that, listen, it was going to be a long game. I don't know if he would get to the final 3 and let alone win for a second time, but he was set up more surprisingly well than I think a lot of us thought. And the weird, ironic thing is like, I feel like so many people have celebrated Kyle as a result of this, right? Of like,
Mhm.
then if he honestly had been voted out proper, I think he would. It's ironic, right? He would have wanted to be voted out proper. He was arguing with Jeff, "Let me stay," but in getting his game snuffed out here, he's been flooded with so much deserved positivity and celebration and the statement of the what if and like, oh my
Mhm.
God, wait, could Kyle have become a legend if he stayed longer in this game?
Mhm.
That's such a good question. Because that could only leave them wanting to see more of Kyle, right? Like, let's
Yeah.
say, I mean, who knows when we'll get another returnee season and what it'll be based on. But I think all it did was show what he's capable of in 4 days, which was very impressive, as the most recent winner that they have seen. But yeah, Kyle is just the best, and I felt for him, and I cannot wait to see Camilla's reaction next episode, because like she posted on her Instagram story, she's like, my Achilles tore his Achilles.
Oh.
So I know
Yeah,
we talked a lot in the draft about how, like, for Camilla to be in a good position, she doesn't need to have Kyle around.
That really is like, forget the
know.
monkey's fist. It's a real monkey's paw situation of like, I wish Kyle wasn't in this game anymore, and it comes at the worst possible cost.
No.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you never want to see someone injured like that. But I think, I think for the Kyle discussion. So this has come up because of Traders, right? We've in Traders universe, without any spoilers, basically talking about who's the greatest trader of US.
I thought you were talking about, like,
time.
did someone tear their Achilles in Traders?
Yeah,
Like,
no medevac yet that I know of in Traders. No,
I would say one particular person had another one as an Achilles heel from a strategic perspective.
Well, Achilles heel, definitely. There's been a lot of those. But yeah, so there's been a conversation basically about, who's been the greatest trader of all time. And I think that part of that conversation has surrounded among seeing people play once versus seeing people play multiple times. You can evaluate a game by itself, sort of in isolation, but when you talk about a player and their skill level, you want more numbers, right? You want the reps. You want to see how that person can do when put into a different scenario with a different group of people. And I think that what Kyle demonstrated is that there is an element where he can be successful with not just the 48ers, right? Without that loyalty people, like that kind of group. He was able to connect with a wide variety of players. Now you could say, well, maybe Stephanie and Colby are the two loyalty people, but with Angelina, with Genevieve, clearly he's able to bring in others. So I think that just helps to give additional evidence to someone's skill level as a game player. So whether or not he was able to, let me reset. Although it was cut short, the point still stands that we were able to see in this, 3 hours of television, him execute and be successful in a different setting, which I think gives credit to how good a player he is.
That's
Absolutely.
the thing as well. I think with him and Jenna, honestly, I think the episode did a really good job of spotlighting them both. And maybe now in retrospect, that is maybe the hidden agenda of we know these two aren't long for the world. So we're going to highlight them more than maybe someone like Aubrey or some of the people on the Kahlo tribe. And maybe that's what we're sort of in for. Maybe we're getting a bit of Shades of Australian Survivor. Hey, this is your episode, and so we are going to showcase why you are here, and unfortunately, why you're going to leave us.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Survivor Australia, so my girlfriend likes to talk to her dad about Survivor. He watches, right? And she was like, "Oh, what'd you think of the premiere?" He's like, "Oh, there was this guy there named Richard." She's like, "No, I don't think so." He's like, "You know what? It's because I'm watching Survivor Australia at the same time."
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because isn't there a Richard?
There is.
Yeah.
There's a Richard, a man in a suit.
Yes.
That's so funny.
Which I thought was hilarious. I was like, oh, that's going to trip him up. There's way too many people on 50.
And it's another 24-person cast as well. He has to keep 48 names in his head.
There's a lot of people.
I won't give Australian Survivors, spoilers, but mixing up names, quite a prominent story in Australian Survivor.
Right.
Well, I want to talk about a couple of names here before we start getting into some of our proper B&B fare. We got to go back to Exile Island here because this, I think, is going to be the biggest storyline going to next episode, maybe even beyond. Liana, give me your thoughts about how this 1v1v1 showdown went down, and do you think Coach snaked Ozzy?
I think to me, it's almost not even about Coach snaking Ozzy in isolation. To me, you have to factor in the conversation that they had the moment they get on Exile Island to have this competition where they immediately squash the beef. Ozzy's like, man, I should have done more for you to win. You should have won your season. Coach being like, man, no, I was a sore loser. And like, no, I was wrong. No, I was wrong. No, I was wrong.
No, you hang up first.
Yeah. Oh, and they hug it out and they're best friends immediately Coach betrays that, right? Like that's the context in which we have to discuss this, because if that conversation hadn't happened, sure, maybe Ozzy would have been pissed. Oh, Coach being Coach, just doing his thing again. But it was like you have that hope that they've squashed the beef if you're Ozzy, right? Like, oh yes, we're in it. Yes, he is honorable. Yes, we are doing this. And Coach is like, technically, I never agreed to this, that I wouldn't steal the key. So I think that that's just such an important context to remember, like why Ozzy would be so freaking pissed, which I completely understand.
Which, if you want to stick with integrity and honor, like, wouldn't it the bigger statement be, hey guys, no matter, like, we're all gonna fight for this. Like, best man wins. Like, whoever gets it down, we're fighting for this. Then and now we have that established. Because then you're sticking to it. Don't create this opportunity of I didn't say anything. Like, that's thinking about
but it makes so much sense because Coach is such a literal thinker, and one of the things he felt he got in trouble with last time was making too many promises. So he says, "Okay, then I'll make no promises."
Therefore, no one can be mad at me.
Yeah, like weird legalese there of like sincerely, literally pleading the fifth. Something that was also interesting though was that you have this chaos at the end that Coach is trying to grab the key. Technically speaking, Q is also putting his pole out to grab the key. I am curious, how do you think Ozzy would have reacted if Q did it, considering that they did make the promise, right? Like Ozzy did say, Q, if you get it, like if you knock it off the pole, I'm going to give it to you. If Q was the one that sniped him in the end, do you think Ozzy would be as angry, or do you think because of that baked in, again, beef, and twice cooked over, Ozzy felt a little more pissed off?
I think the beef is what amplifies it. If it was Q, it would have been like, oh man, it was hard. Like I should have been able to get it. Q ended up getting it. Like it would have sucked for Oscar. It would have sucked for Oscar. But I don't think he would have been as mad to have still been talking about it, days later. So I think it was the baked in beef is what really did Coach in here. I mean, this has been years, and if they've never really squashed this beef, they've never really talked, they never spent hours on FaceTime talking this through, which I don't imagine that they did. Of course, Coach is going to take his first opportunity to get Oscar back.
Yeah. And I mean, also remember, like the conversation that they had, how genuine is it, right? I'm imagining if I'm in that situation, of course I'm going to say that. I'm gonna be like, yeah, you're right. Because this is somebody who you might end up needing to work with. But I completely agree. I think Oscar would have been pissed at Q, but I think it does get amplified because of the beef. But I will say it would have been very funny to watch Coach and Ozzy be on Exile Island together. That would have been so funny.
That's the thing, is that I'm sure, if and when Q and Ozzy are eliminated, we'll get a little bit of stories as to like the discussions that they had. I'm assuming they made some sort of deal with one another. But like that would have been incredible. I mean, they would have left like best friends. Like I know Ozzy says Cerise is number one ally, but like he could have really locked in with Coach there, which makes what happened all the more hysterical. And what is interesting is like I legitimately do believe them when they say like they have not talked since South Pacific, because they came from the pre-social media era, where I do feel like maybe you could speak to this, Asia, like new era cast, even if they feel a certain way about each other, like if they squash beef, they have many ways to communicate with each other and do so. Whereas like back in even like 2011, I don't think Coach is like, well, I'm going to call Ozzy up and talk to him about this type of stuff. It was largely, I'm just going to go to my life and ignore this man.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you still want to be involved, like, you're going to run into people. And so there's more incentive there. But also if you just like, hey, I want to squash what happened in the game because I think we could actually be really good friends. There's so many ways of just like, just simply interacting on social media, or legitimately, hopping on FaceTime or texting, or there's just way too many ways these days to connect. So I can see how back in the day, going back to your normal life, there was no reason. There was no incentive. There weren't these like, watch party every single episodes that were so easily accessible. And well,
oh my God, imagine like, Coach and Ozzy are figuring out if they're going to go to the Survivor One World viewing party in New York City.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing too that was interesting from the Exile Island-ness of it all was the vote thing with the like negotiation.
Selling your vote, yeah.
Selling your vote. Yeah, some move over selling Sunset. So like,
yep, that's the next real estate show. Selling your vote.
Selling your vote. Yeah.
I mean, Q is a real estate agent, so he would be the star of it.
See? But that was really interesting. That was where also I think we really got a deep dive into the Oscar character of it all. I think I wrote down the quote where Oscar was like, Oscar is a quick talking negotiator. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, and I love that he says that, but like all we seem to hear Ozzy to be was like, hey, we are gonna go to tribal council probably soon, so we need an extra vote. And Q's like, okay. Man,
I
Oscar,
get the supplies.
Like,
you
look what I
really got him
did.
over on your knee on that one.
Yeah, and then I mean he gets to come back and is like, yeah, I won supplies.
Yeah.
So what's the loss for him, right? And then he doesn't, obviously he ends up disclosing later, I think, to Kyle that he lost his vote, but you know, in the moment, at least to the tribe. And I mean, I don't know, Aysha, maybe you can correct me on this, but if I was in that situation, I probably wouldn't question it too much. I would just be like, yeah, he was sent off to win supplies and he won supplies. So
yeah, I mean, the only thing that you can be a little bit curious about is the overnight stay, right?
Yeah.
Like you're wondering, was there more to it? Like, did you get supplies and something else? Like, were there opportunities? I can't imagine they would have two people on Exile and not have like something to show, like just be basing it on their social interactions. So that's the only thing that would seem like, maybe, but you know, Q is the type of person that's just like what you see is what you get. So I don't think they're thinking like this Q, this strategic mastermind that is like has figured something else out on top of getting the supplies.
well, and
not to mention, he comes up with like a lie for like a sweat challenge, right? He's like, oh, the next morning, me and Ozzy had to move these 50 coconuts, and I beat him there. And on paper, you might be like, I can't believe that he beat Ozzy. But considering that the completely correct, true story about Ozzy losing in that first part, I don't know. Maybe you have to come out with something like incredibly outlandish. Like, me and Ozzy stayed up all night telling ghost stories to each other. Like, you have to come up with some sort of weird narrative that is almost like too strange to not be real.
Right. I mean, and even when you are telling the truth, like from experience, like me coming back and not admitting that I had like a sash on to hook the keys. Because like as I'm telling the story, I'm looking at my tribe and I'm seeing like some people like look at each other and I'm like, they're not believing me. Let me just cut down on the details and get straight to it. And I was already like down on my luck because I lost. But even when you are telling the truth, there are reasons for people to think that you're still lying about something, because every new season, you don't know what they're introducing every season. So, you know, it's only a matter of time that I guess this would be the time that like the fight for supplies, you don't end with the supplies, you can end with something else, which was what happened with Ozzy.
Yeah, which is now going to ruin that moving forward for people. Like,
exactly.
I lost.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
but did you lose?
But did you lose? Yeah.
All right, well, let's start getting into our usual B&B-ish here. And I sort of get to take the week off of preseason predictions because I was obviously out there to see Jenna go. And as I mentioned, I did not necessarily have the best diagnosis in a manner of speaking for Kyle's longevity in the game. So, Liana, the spotlight is on you. You're in the hero position. You're twirling the monkey's fist right now. Did you go the full length? Did you hook the Y? Or were you like Sari getting tripped up by those ropes?
All right, let's find out. So I'll start with Jenna. I did have Jenna going pre-jury.
Oh.
Yes. A little bit of spoiler here, but after the consensus boot of Savannah, the Sila, I'm going to ask you a 10 times, Mike. Sila. I'm going to write that.
Say what you Sila is what you get, la.
Oh, I like that. Okay. I Sila this a lot. Okay. The Sila tribe falls into two factions, with Jenna squarely in the middle. It seemed like Jenna was the belle of the ball, looking to be recruited by either side until the Romeo plus Juliet of Christian plus Sari. You know the movie Romeo and Juliet?
Oh, like Baz Luhrmann's one?
Yeah.
Romeo plus
it's not
Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet, it's Romeo plus Juliet. So the Romeo plus Juliet of Christian plus Sari reach across enemy lines to form a truce and, in my fan fiction, fall in love. Instead of fighting over Jenna for the numbers,
the 6-week-old child, Liana. And she has a child that's considerably older than 6 weeks.
Hey, don't ruin my fan fiction. Instead of fighting over Jenna for the numbers, when Sila loses another immunity challenge, the old schoolers and the gamers come together once again to send Jenna on the pre-jury trip. Due to Jenna's early exit, props in the editing team smush as many nostalgic things about her being on the first season as humanly possible. Her ally was Joe, and her enemy was the bond between Christian and Suri.
Okay, well, technically true, right? Because Christian wanted to work with Suri, and so
Yes.
And according to Jenna, Christian is this Machiavellian mastermind that led her down this path.
An icon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and speaking of that, that was probably the best part of that intro sequence was watching Jenna's eyes close and then open and then it's on the boat. Oh,
It was cool.
I love that.
I don't know how long they were sitting on that plane to do all of that stuff. I also wonder, like, did they do it with everybody? Because we saw I think we saw Colby. We saw, I think it was the people who were closing their eyes. I think it was Colby, Stephanie, and Jenna. And so, like, did they want to be equal opportunists? Or how do you think the new era people were like, are they just going to 3 of us to do this whole eye-opening thing?
Do we get to do that?
Yeah,
Do we get to
I can close my eyes too.
Like have Rizzo.
Oh my God.
2 weeks
Okay.
ago.
Imagine, if that footage exists of Rizzo doing that, I need to see that immediately. Thank you very much. I will just a brief side note before I talk about my Kyle prediction. I'm sorry, the logo is so ugly.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, they made a few like cosmetic improvements in it since like the logo was first released last year, but it kind of is like shining a turd a bit in terms of graphic design.
It's a little ugly.
I think the only time it's looked the best is in that puzzle during the immunity. Like
Okay,
it looked.
yes.
I liked the 50 on the top exceeding out
Yeah.
of the logo, but what is everywhere else? It seems like less than Canva.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I think it was when it was on the plane that it really hit me, where I was like, ooh. Not ideal. Anyway, okay. So Kyle. Okay. I also had Kyle pre-jury,
Oh,
but for very different reasons. Apparently, being the last winner people see before playing leaves a lasting impression on one's threat level. Kyle was down and out before the season even started. To his credit, Kyle worked his smile and social game magic, so at least there was some debate over him being the first boot from the Vatu tribe.
oh,
Yeah. Kyle is obviously sad, but a good sport about it, knowing he gets to go back to his pile of cash. And then I wrote, imagine Scrooge McDuck swimming into a pile of coins.
well, he's not gonna be swimming anytime soon.
Nope, gotta heal first. At the next reward challenge, Camilla looks sad and shocked to see her former alliance mate voted out, but is secretly happy knowing it will lower her threat level. His ally was Genevieve, and his enemy was Aubrey.
Oh, okay. I feel like you definitely nailed the Genevieve connection.
Yeah, and technically, Genevieve and Aubrey were against each other.
The enemy of my friend is my enemy.
Yeah,
that's what they say.
That's what they say. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I never expected him to get medevac. Clearly, and I thought that he was just gonna be. I thought 3 of them from 48. Like someone's got to pay the price. Kyle's the last winner. Joe's never going anywhere. He's Mr. Loyalty, got a wedgie on TV. Like, he's going to be fine. So then it was kind of between Kyle and Camilla. And I thought, maybe Kyle. The only reason I thought maybe Kyle would stay was obviously because of his physical prowess. But clearly in writing my prediction, I did not factor that in. So there we are.
Yeah, I mean, you also never know. I know that obviously there was a lot of talk when the tribes were revealed of like, oh God, pink, purple tribe, disaster tribe. And look, maybe it happens. I mean, Asia, your tribe went to tribal council a couple times, but not until episode 3. But like, so far so good. They are showing they killed that opening challenge. Like they were not out of step whatsoever.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and I thought Jenna did amazing. Was it? Well, was it Jenna or Stephanie who was like first?
Stephanie.
Okay,
Yeah, she basically like low key won the challenge for them from the very beginning.
Yeah. She was so far out ahead in digging the thing. Well, regular excavator, as Christian would say.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that as well, thinking about that comment. And again, Rick's like, news update, you're doing great. Of like, these are the first things they're saying to this woman who they don't know.
Yeah.
Imagine that's your first impression. Okay, well, we have given our thoughts. And I will say, one of the things I was most excited about when season 50 premiere happened, what are the casuals thinking? Of course, you gotta know, right? So I went to the Survivor Facebook page. Oh my God, water bottle buddies. Wait, Asia and Mike have the same water bottle. Oh my God, they're gonna vote me out. Guys, no!
This is our pregame alliance.
Now I know what it's like to feel like I'm on the outs. Anyway, but thankfully it doesn't matter because I hold your scores in my hand.
Oh no.
So
You'll be drinking it in, much like we do out of these water bottles.
From alliance mates to enemies. All right. So I went to the Survivor Facebook page. And so I'm first just going to read like a couple comments that I pulled just to give you guys a general feel on how the Survivor casuals were feeling. That's not what the game is about, but just to have a little bit of fun here. So I think we were all on the same page. Best episode of Survivor in a long time. Chills and giggles for 3 hours straight.
Chills and giggles.
Chills and giggles. They really, really liked it. Of course, you had a number of comments. Where's Rupert? Where's Russell? Those types of things. Of course, those are always going to show up.
Did Boston Rob show up?
Boston Rob showed up a couple of times. We got a couple fair plays, actually, especially because they showed the clip, the dead grandma clip. So that one was like very rude to show a clip of fair play and then not include him.
I mean, that's the other thing that I was very intrigued by and that made me so happily surprised by that opening montage. Is like, yeah, they did some stuff to like specifically highlight the 24 that made it on, but like I did think there was a chance they were gonna maybe obfuscate some people to not invite that discussion necessarily.
Yeah. I bet you got to include the dead grandma moment though, right? And it was like 1 or 2 comments for that. I would say the majority were "Where's Rupert?" That seemed to be the biggest snub, actually more than Boston Rob, which I was a little bit surprised about. But there was one top comment on a thread had 262 likes. Old school players are so much more enjoyable to watch than new era players.
Dare you?
So I was like, that tracks. Okay.
Like really it is just, it's nice to see them again.
Yes. And I think for me, the joy comes with them interacting with each other, right? And we've talked about this a lot, and I will mention it again for the umpteenth time, but the interaction between Colby and Rizzo, iconic, amazing. Like, that's what I'm here to watch. So I think you got to have a little bit of both in order to make it enjoyable.
And I think as well, I mean, I've heard some people actually talk about this with Colby, and yeah, you don't necessarily think about, like, how many people do you think auditioned for Survivor the Australian Outback? Like, think about the personality you had to have to beat out that many people to get onto the show. Like, they're all so good at cutting sound bites. I think because, like, their story and their personality had to stand out amongst maybe millions of people at one point.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I also think there's this concept of survivorship bias where like remember the new era was just a couple years ago. There hasn't been the time to vet people in terms of like who are truly the icons of Survivor. Whereas we're pulling the icons of Survivor. Like who is going to be the Aussie of the 40s? You know what I mean? Like we haven't had time to really like figure that out yet necessarily. So I think that there's a little bit of that as well. Like you've got the top players from earlier seasons where, you know, it unvetted maybe or less vetted from the new era. So I think that's something also to take into consideration. All right. For our actual game today, what I've done is I've pulled comments about specific players on this season, but I have blanked out the name. I've also changed any pronouns to be gender neutral. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a casuals comment and then it is up to you to fill in the blank, basically who this comment is about. Okay. So Mike, we're going to start with you. Well, at least we know blank's eyelash extensions can survive diving into mud.
Okay, there is one player with whom I noticed the eyelash extensions the most, which makes, and since I am not the most observational Ollie, I imagine that's a good barometer for the casual audience. I'm going to say Angelina.
That is incorrect.
Oh,
Can I?
Yeah,
steal. Why not?
steal.
Yeah, steal my
Okay.
key. Steal my key.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna say Suri.
That is correct. Yes.
It's between those two, but I feel like maybe because I was just watching the end of the episode, where like it's that shot of like Angelina with her face down crying. I really noticed the eyelashes.
Yeah. I will say the main reason I noticed them with Suri is because I don't know if she's had them in previous seasons. Like even Australian Survivor. Like I was like it was noticeable from seeing her so many times in this environment.
And they were heavy too. So I think it was like a combination of those two things.
It's weird though, because they didn't show that Suri had found the Billie Eilish boomerang idol that she had to wear across her face the entire season.
Outwit, outplay, outlash. Let's go, All right, Asia, we're gonna go to you. If you get it wrong, we're updating the rules of the game. We're dynamic, just like the advantages.
Yeah. Did we vote on that actually?
So that was an option. That was
Okay.
it was minimal, strategic, and dynamic, which makes no like what does that mean?
I have no idea.
Whatever they want.
Yeah, but as Jeff said, by the way, this is his exact quote. We turned the entire game over to the fans. I feel like I'm being gaslit. Anyway.
The entire game. Also, Exile Island, something that none of us knew was coming back whatsoever.
Exactly. Also, he was not so excited to tell them that we voted for the colors. I feel like he was disappointed in the colors.
Yeah. I love the colors.
The colors are
Same.
great.
That was the easiest vote. I mean, they were amazing. We love. All right. So, Asia, we're going to go to you. But if you get it wrong, Mike has the ability to pop in and steal.
Okay.
Blank is wearing jeans on a beach. That just feels wrong.
Is it Chrissy?
That is incorrect.
Ooh.
Mike, you can step in and steal.
All right. So let me now picture all these fine people in denim.
Ooh.
Not to get into my off podcast thoughts. All right, so like my first thought for some reason would be Jonathan, but he was wearing these weird, almost teeny like scarecrow pants.
Yes,
throughout the
patchwork
premiere.
ones. Yes.
So it's definitely not him. I mean, it's gotta be Coach. Like, I'm pretty sure Coach. I remember when he was doing the Coach Cheese scene to like close out his like. Now I've realized I'm taking the gloves off this time around. I'm pretty sure he was wearing jeans then.
That is correct. It
Wow.
is Coach. So you've stolen each other's points. We are tied 1-1. Mike, we're gonna go back to you. This is your official question. I think blank's undies changed colors. ... Pay attention to that area.
Like, are they implying they peed themselves and changed the color?
That is not how I interpreted that, but
Oh,
now
are you talking about more
that's
so
all I'm thinking
the
of.
posterior rather than the anterior?
I have absolutely no. Okay, why is it excrement? Why is it some form of excrement with you?
What are you talking about with
I just
changing
thought they
colors of
got new-
underwear?
I just thought they got new undies and they were like, they're giving them new
Oh.
clothes or something like that. But anyway, whether they pee-peed or poo-pooed or got new pants, Mike, who is it that the casuals are peeping the underwear? Peeping the
Okay, well,
undies,
then I'm
as they
trying to
say.
think. Now I have to go to my other podcast line of who am I imagining in their tidy whities, or perhaps another color here. Who did we see in their underwear? Oh, maybe Q. I definitely remember Q in his underwear because I think he was in his underwear when like he walks off to Exile with Ozzy. So maybe it was Q. Maybe it was Ozzy. I'm gonna go with Q because I feel like Q's underwear was more of a pronounced color, so maybe people would pay attention to if the hues changed at all, not the Q's.
Well, apparently you and the casuals both looking at Q down under because yes, that is correct. It was about Q, which now I'm like, clearly didn't pay enough attention to that area as this commenter.
Yeah, no, all about the Q-ness,
about the Q-ness. That's right.
not the penis.
Oh,
Nope. Okay. Anyway, so Asia's gonna be playing solo the rest of the game as Mike is sent to timeout.
right.
Okay, Asia, let's go to you.
Okay.
All right. So next week on Survivor, someone talks about their dad and they cry. They stub their toe and they cry. They seize a stick and they cry.
Wait, they seize a stick?
They seize a stick and they cry.
They didn't have more.
Nope, that was it. They
That
had
was
3.
it.
A rule of 3 is in comedy, you know. It's
Mhm.
critical. All right, Aysha, who is this comment about?
Oh, speaking of comedy, I did go see Mae Martin
Oh.
last night.
I love that.
They came to Houston, yeah, for comedy. It was a comedy show with an intermission, and then they did improv with their friend, and then they sang a few tunes on a guitar.
Oh my God, like a
It was
real
a nice
variety
variety
show from Mae Martin. Yeah.
That's fun.
Exactly. But yeah, known Survivor fan. Okay. I think the answer is obvious here because there's one person that we've seen cry a lot recently in the past like 6 months on television. I'd have to say Rizzo.
That is correct. It is Rizzo.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I my heart always breaks when he's upset, like especially when Kyle's revealing the news, and it keeps and Rizzo's like he looks so sad.
His lip quivers.
Yeah, but it is countered brilliantly by like I understand what he was saying to Colby, but it is kind of objectively hilarious out of context that he says like my dad's 47 and then bursts into tears.
Yeah.
Well, he did it with Nate also. Like he was like, "You're like my dad." I feel like Rizzo's like really out there just looking for a father.
To be fair, Rizzo has now spent like with the exception of a 10-day period, he spent like 2 months being away from his dad. So he's just trying to find his dad. He's like Simba. He's looking up at the clouds and he's seeing Mufasa everywhere he goes.
Are you my dad? Are you my dad? Okay. Well, now you've each gotten your own questions correct. We're all tied up at 2. Mike, we're going back to you. You know, if I squint a little, blank looks like Kevin Costner. Hee hee.
Okay, Michael Jackson come back from the dead. Looks like, I mean, it has to be Colby. I think a lot of people were even making the Kevin Costner comparison, especially when he wore his own denim, unlike Coach on the top rather than the bottom. I think people were getting that Yellowstone vibe from him.
That is correct. Multiple people commented this as well. This was not the only one of people thinking Colby looks like Kevin Costner. And also everybody's like, Colby's still really hot.
Like, that's the thing. Like, I was out there on the island with him, like, holy moly. Like,
he aged really well.
Yeah.
Incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, Aysha, we're going to you. Is it just me or is blank giving off Hobbit vibes?
Okay. Oh gosh. Okay. Hobbit vibes?
Yes.
Interesting.
You know, that is a very interesting one. I am in between 2 people.
Okay.
I'm thinking either Ozzy because of his hair and Christian. Hobbit vibes. It really depends on what they mean.
Like, I don't want to be like, it's just you. Is it just
me? Okay. Oh my goodness. Hobbit vibes?
Hobbit vibes.
Okay. I'm gonna just go. Gosh. I'll just go with my gut and say Ozzy.
Okay. That is incorrect. Mike, would you like to steal?
I would love to because, I mean, unfortunately, I feel like the Hobbit label is often a very male-coded term, even though there are female hobbits, justice for Rosie the barmaid. But I feel like when people talk about hobbits, they talk about, short men who are having a good time. There aren't a lot of that's what hobbits. The Shire was a place where they could smoke pipe weed and light fireworks and gallivant about before, doom quite literally rained down upon them. So I guess the question is but there's no actual short kings on this season. So I guess who has those vibes about them? Christian is a good one. Rick could also be a good one as well, especially because, a famous hobbit, Bilbo Baggins, once found a very powerful thing in the form of the ring. Rick, of course, is an idle hound, as Christian called him. It's weird because like Christian was also explicitly referencing other franchises on this episode, but I guess he's the next best thing to Asia's point. So I'm going to go with Christian.
Okay, that is also incorrect.
Wow.
This was about, and I think you'll figure out why when I say it, Charlie.
Oh.
Here's my theory. Charlie gives up his foot for the ring. Coach's ring that gets slipped on his toe.
And ironically enough, he goes invisible in the episode after that.
Exactly. Ring, feet, invisible. It all works. So
yeah, you know what? I think Charlie would also get the reference too. I think he would appreciate it.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. All right, Mike, let's go to you. Blank needs to quit being a baby.
I'm gonna go with Ozzy on this one. I'm really intrigued to see how the casuals feel about the whole Ozzy v Coach thing, but I feel like as much as maybe people on the island are like, ooh, Coach, I feel like the casual opinion is more so that Ozzy has the sour grapes.
Okay, first of all, that's amazing that you got that because yes, that is correct. And I was like, this is so big, he'll never get that.
Well, because I was trying to think about like who's complaining about what. Like maybe it's Jenna complaining about Sari, but when I think about like what was the most recurring complaint throughout the episode from one aggrieved party, it was Ozzy.
The 19 confessionals, yeah.
Yep. Okay, well, Aysha, I'm sorry you are mathematically eliminated, but let's see if you can get your last one here. Your final comment is, I would love to see blank win. They are amazing with such a heart of gold.
Oh my God.
Who has a heart of gold?
Who's got a heart of gold?
The casuals would have seen already. Who has a heart of gold? Because I'm thinking maybe Vatu, because I feel like the Kyle situation would have, brought.
Kyle
yeah, they thought, like he just went to the hospital. He's coming back. Yeah, I'm thinking it has to be Vatu because of the Kyle situation. Like that would have prompted them to say that. Because I don't think Sila going to tribal would have caused that or anything. Is it Kahlo? Kahlo?
Kahlo, yeah, Kahlo's the green tribe.
Kahlo, okay.
Sila, Kahlo, Vatu. I'm practicing.
What, your vampire impression?
One. Vatu.
Oh, okay. Can you read it one more time? Can I have the definition?
Yes, you may. And I'll use it in a sentence. I would love to see blank win. They are amazing with such a heart of gold.
Okay, Genevieve.
That's very sweet. No. That is wrong. Mike, would you like to take a stab at it?
Yes, because apparently according to this person, they would never stab somebody. They have a heart of gold. So I'm between two people right now. I think the chalk pick, without anything from this episode, would be Joe, because he does have a heart of gold, and we do get a little bit of, obviously that moment with Eva, and it obviously wasn't that long ago, so people have a firm memory of it in their heads. The one that would be more applicable to this episode would be Christian, because Christian has that just like incredibly heartwarming confessional of like talking about his child as his secret weapon, and someday my son will see this. So I feel like if we're talking about like who expressed they had a heart of gold in this specific episode, Asia did some wishful thinking. I will do so as well and say Christian.
Your first gut guess was correct. It was not Christian. It was Joe. There's actually a lot of Joe love.
I was going to ask actually, as we look back, like, did you feel like there were any people significantly that casuals were supporting more than others?
Joe popped up a lot. Obviously there was I'm really excited to see Colby. Colby's really hot. A lot of that kind of stuff, right? But yeah, there was a lot of Joe love. A lot of Coach is annoying, that kind of stuff. A lot of Rizzo and Savannah don't deserve to be here. Those are the general vibes. But a lot of people just not even mentioned at all, which I think is interesting. So a lot of focus on Sari, Ozzy, Coach, Colby. and Joe. Interestingly
Like
enough.
Joe is like a very popular player, you know? Like
Yeah.
not only does he have some incredibly heartwarming scenes, but like he was one of the front runners to win but a year ago. So like it is weird
Yeah.
though, I think again, because like he didn't do that much in this episode. So I think that's where I got tripped up,
Yeah.
but it does make a lot of
Same.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
I'm like, what
totally.
did they see that would make them think? But yeah, I guess it's just that the feelings they already had about Joe.
You know what
Yeah.
it was though? It is that confessional of when Sila first hits the beach, where he essentially does the whole friend thing with me all over again. Of like, we've got an amazing group. Christian's brilliant. Ozzy's
Yes.
strong. Rick Devens, he's a goof. I love him. And Savannah, I don't know her at all, but you must be pretty cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that and them showing the clips of, you know, the him and Eva moment. I think also he was just so beloved on his season anyway, and it wasn't that long ago. So I think that a lot of that just carries over.
Yeah.
So anyway, congratulations, Michael. Asia, you did a fabulous job. And that's what the casuals are saying.
Okay, but it sounds like they are largely high on the season, one episode in.
Yes. Yep. Largely high on the season. Pretty excited overall. Yeah. Really, the only negativity that I saw was actually towards Savannah, Rizzo, and Coach for the most part. Everything else was pretty positive.
All right. I guess we are all in that league, not with those specific player, critiques, but more so about the overall positivity on the season so far. And let's segue to a little bit more positivity, because of course we end each and every week here on the B&B by giving our guest a chance to spotlight a charity or cause that is important to them. Of course, we have the privilege to be able to escape into this lovely island show for an hour and a half to 3 hours at any time. But of course, there's a lot of very important things that are going on outside of our proverbial island here. And so we always want to give our guests the opportunity to spotlight some of those. So Asia, what do you have for the audience this week?
So I have the American Kidney Fund. So they're actually a really kind organization. They reached out to me to thank me for the donation for most recently. I went to Over the Edge and donated the money that I raised to the American Kidney Fund. And they reached out to me on Instagram and said thanks. I was like, wow, more
so
coming your
nice.
way. Okay.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Do you get like, hey, it's me, American Kidney Foundation?
Right. Oh, yeah.
He's just getting scammed.
Yeah, no, right. They were verified. And so I was like, okay, this is legit. And so, yeah, my family has been affected. My mom, she was on dialysis for 5 years before she got a kidney. And she was on the list for years and had to do dialysis every single night from home.
Wow.
And yeah, now she's living great with her kidney. And now my dad is going through the same thing. So it's just very helpful organization to help with the ongoing costs to, it really impacts someone's life being on dialysis because if you're not going to a center, you're doing it from home every night and think of like wanting to travel or, and my mom was a very big advocate for not letting it slow her down. So we traveled to Orlando and she would just get her dialysis solution shipped there and then have to, take her machine on the plane. And so she spoke at, her dialysis center to different, while she was going through it, would speak to them about, hey, you don't have to, this is not like a pause in your life. Like you can live a full life while being on dialysis and, nurturing your kidney. So, yeah, it's something that I just constantly keep in mind and just trying to like take care of my body, and so, yeah, the American Kidney Fund. And I think if I can get the website, I think it is very straightforward. But the American Kidney Fund, they are on Instagram, like I said, but it's kidneyfund.org.
Okay. Yes. Short, sweet, and to the point. Thank you so much, Asia, especially opening up about how much, that has affected your family. Clearly, this is a cause that means a lot to you. And you mean a lot to us, especially getting to come on and talk about such a fun episode of Survivor on such a fun podcast. Besides Mae Martin's stand-up tour, what would you like to plug for the listeners out there?
Yeah, so podcasting in a couple of places right now. So first, I just recently started a podcast with my girlfriend, Sarah. We started a podcast called Life by Us. So it's Life B-I-Us, since we're both bi. It's funny, our first podcast, we didn't drop that until like maybe 30 minutes in. We're like, oh yeah, we forgot to bury the lead. I mean, or we buried the lead. This is why it's called this. But we are on YouTube and anywhere you listen to audio podcasts. It's just going to be a fun place to hang out with our friends in the LGBTQ plus community and allies, to just get to know people better who are part of this lovely community. So it's just like a fun passion project, and we're having a great time doing it so far. So you can find us, like I said, on YouTube if you just look up Life BI Us. And then also Jason Reed and I, when we're not talking about the seasons that are airing live on Peacock now, we are talking about Married at First Sight over on our Patreon. So we decided to start a Patreon about a year ago. We're celebrating a year where we're talking about old seasons of Married at First Sight. And we're doing a bunch of bonus podcasts, interviewing past cast members. We've just created a little maths world over there. So you can find that at patreon.com/aperfectmatchpodcast. And we're having a great time over there. And then you can just follow me on all social media at Aysha like Asia. That's AYSHA like ASIA.
All right, Liana, we know that as always, you and Puya are putting out great stuff on the Puya and Liana Lounge. I know. Well, we'll figure out if we want to do weekly plugs of like the stuff you and I do, because it's always the same old great
I know.
shit. But what would you like to plug for the uninitiated? What is the Puya and Liana Lounge, and what do you have on the docket this week?
All right. Yeah, so for the Puya and Liana Lounge, it's Puya and myself get together and just chat about anything that's on our mind. We postponed recording this week so we could watch basically all 3 of the reality shows that dropped this week, or ended, I guess. So we're going to talk about we normally don't talk this much about reality TV, although we do touch on it pretty much every week. It's just such a big part of our lives. But this week we're doing basically a 3-fer. We're going to talk a little bit about and get Puya's thoughts on the Survivor premiere. We're going to talk about the Traitors US finale, and of course House of Villains, which premiered this week with Tyson Apostle, who is no spoilers, but already iconic on this season. If you have not watched House of Villains, it's on Peacock now, so it's a little bit easier to find than it was on E previously. It's so good. It's just like such a fun show. Again, the nostalgia factor is a 10 out of 10, and it just doesn't take itself too seriously. It like reminds me of the golden age of VH1 reality TV shows. It's so fun.
It definitely helps that Tiffany New York Pollard is there, who was a staple of that era.
Exactly, an icon. So yeah, so much love for House of Villains. Go watch it if you haven't already.
Yeah, I believe it's 3 episodes it came out with. So again, this was a wild week for reality TV.
Yeah.
It feels like we're finally settling down into a routine. So catch up on House of Villains, catch up on Australian Survivor as well, because that is in full swing with Richard and 23 other people.
Yeah.
It's all the Richard show.
I also forgot on RHAP, I'm talking about Love is Blind right now. So we are... we have covered 11 episodes so far. And so we have the finale and the reunion coming up. So this season has been very entertaining. So highly recommended. I'm covering with Jason Reed and Mary Kukowski.
Yeah, I was going to ask how it was, because I know that last season was not highly regarded, but does this seem like it's a little bit step in the right direction?
Step in the right direction is tough, because I mean, every season just proves like why are these people doing this? The concept is broken. Love is not blind. They have proven that time and time and time again. It's just that they just found people that spark conversation. Like, everyone loves talking about these people, not from like, oh, we love these people, but oh my gosh, what a mess. And we can't wait to see what other mess comes from it. Like, it should be a pretty good reunion. So entertainment value is there. Is Love blind? No.
All right. Well, you can check out, of course, all the stuff I've got going on, because again, I was out there for the first 3 days of Survivor 50. So I put out a whole article about everything you didn't see, between Angelina negotiating for a tarp, between Colby and Jeff recreating their chocolate bar moment, everything in between. Colby trying to tell Rizzo not to cut so much, and vice versa. So I got that in article form. I also put out a podcast with Rob on the Patreon feed, covering all of that as well. Going back to Australian Survivor briefly, though, of course, that also decided to premiere this week. And so I did hop on with Shannon and Gus for one episode, but as of this week, I start the transition process to sit in the big chair for at least a little bit to take over while Shannon's on maternity leave. Covered this season, which I've been having a lot of fun with so far. You know, feels a little new. It's like trying on a new pair of clothes, right? You have to run through the washer a few times to like really get the feel for it. We've got a new host. Feels like a new direction for the show, but for what it's worth, it's some of my favorite stuff from Australian Survivor, which is like a lot of shooting yourself in the foot, which is the type of Survivor content I love to see in terms of entertainment value. So check that out, as well as the subsequent week caps we've got going on with that. And then Traders finished off its run. I have a couple of interviews that I put out in the past couple days, one with Mark Ballas, one with Tara Lipinski. We'll see if there's more in the future. Real quick, spoiler free thoughts. Asia, what'd you think about the capper to the Trader season 4?
Ooh. I will say I'm very glad we got the finale and the reunion in one night. Immediately got to dive in. It had me on the edge of my seat. I didn't think that it would. So yeah. That's on me.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I do. I made my, thoughts very public that like this was not my favorite season. But I do feel like the last 10 minutes in particular, without getting into too much, were very, very fun. And maybe the strongest part of the past like 3 or so episodes of the show.
Absolutely.
So feel free. And of course, you can check out Liana's full thoughts on the pal. She's remaining mum right now, locking away with a key that Coach will drag into his ring. But hopefully you're not dragging this podcast in the comments because I'm so excited to be back with the B&B. I think especially, again, as Mike White said, he wants this season to be fun. We are the Fun and Games podcast here on RHAP. So I think we're going to have a really good time, whether it's talking about the episode proper, whether it's bringing in whatever miscellaneous stuff that we want to do. I definitely know that fashion show has already sort of like filled our queue for buffer stuff inevitably. But if you have game ideas of what you want us to do, feel free to reach out. Really, any and all idea. We're not closed off at any point. Unlike Aubrey, we are open for business. So feel free to reach out to us, rhapbnb@gmail.com, the letter B, the letter N, the letter B, or you can use the hashtag RHAPBNB on social media. She is at Liana RHAP. I am at a Mike Bloom type. That's going to do it for this week on the B&B. So happy to be back, especially talking about such a fun episode of what will hopefully be such a fun season. Special thanks to everyone behind the scenes at RHAP for packaging this podcast for your eyes and your ears. And Will from America for his incredible theme song that is still slapping, like that old school voting music they brought back as a bit of a remix. Got my nostalgic heart thrumming, and it will not stop beating, hopefully, for the next few months, or at least the next week, as we'll talk all things episode 2 of Survivor 50. Until then, everybody, we'll check you out at your next stay.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.